Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights. In this video, we are going to discuss the types of operations that are present in the Spark. In day-to-day life, you have to perform some operations so that you get the exact data and then you save that exact data into our destination folder or a destination like an S3 bucket or a data warehouse. So, what type of transformations or operations you have to perform? So, there are two types of operations that you need to perform. One is transformations, and the second is actions. What is transformation? Transformation is an operation which will transform a data frame or a data set or an RDD from one form to another form. So the data doesn't remain the same, it is converted from one form to another form and it creates a new data set from the existing one. It is not going to replace the data set, it is going to create a new data set from the existing one. And it is lazily evaluated based on DAG. What is a DAG? DAG is directed acyclic graph. So whenever a transformation is present, then it is going to create a graph in which all the operations are mentioned, and once a particular action is called, then it is evaluated. So what is an action? When we want to work with actual data set, at that particular point itself, the action is performed. So when you call an action, it returns a value to the driver program after running a computation on the data set. So let's say you are calling an action at that particular point of time itself, it is going to create a DAG, complete DAG, and evaluate the complete DAG based on all the transformations and actions are present, and it returns the result data set to our driver and displays us the result. Unless and until you call an action, that complete transformation is not executed, and hence it is called lazy evaluation. So that is one advantage that Spark provides, so that the complete data set is not evaluated. Only it is evaluated when we actually need the data, when actually an action is being called. So that is an action. If someone asks you what is the difference between transformation and action, transformation is what transformation you are doing, and it doesn't return any kind of result unless and until an action is being called from that particular operation. Next is what is a lazy evaluation. Let's explain this with the help of an example and diagrammatically. So we have a storage. Let's say we have a DBMS or a flat file from which we are reading the data. And on the top of that particular data, we need to do some kind of a transformation. Let's say once we read the file, that file is stored as an RDD. After we read the file as an RDD1, then we need some kind of a filter operation to be performed on that RDD1. After the filter operation is performed, it creates a new RDD called RDD2. Let's say on the top of that filtered data, we want to do some more transformation. Let's say we want to do some aggregation on the top of RDD2. That we can do. And it again creates a new RDD, that is RDD3. This complete thing is stored in a DAG till RDD3. That is directed cyclic graph. Once the complete DAG is created, the action, as soon as in the DAG the action is implemented, then it starts evaluating from the beginning, from reading the CSV or any text file that you have, and then do the transformations, and then returns the result into the storage location. Could be a data warehouse, could be an S3 bucket. So this complete thing is evaluated only when an action is being called. And unless and until action is being called, it is just stored as a DAG. It is not being evaluated. So this is very important and major feature of Spark. Then let's see what are some examples of transformations and actions. Transformations could be a map, it could be a flat map, we could filter out some data, we could group the data, or we can do a reduce by key. We can get the values using the map values, or we can do a union operation or distinct operation. The ones that I have listed right now on the screen are the majorly used transformations and actions. There are many more transformations and actions that you will find. You can go ahead with the Spark documentation and see those transformations and actions. And what are the actions? Actions means you have to collect the data into your driver. You have to go ahead and get the first value of the data, or you can count how many data is there. You want the n values from the data, that is take n, let's say 5 values of the data. Or you want to save the file as a text file, or you want to do a reduce operation on the top of the data. So these are some actions that we have for our Spark data frame. Now, what are the types of transformation? Types of transformation could be a narrow transformation and it could be a wide transformation. Narrow transformations are one-to-one transformation. It means you just go ahead and give that transformation. It doesn't require any kind of a shuffling. It will give you just the output. Whereas in the wide transformation, it is not one-to-one. You have to go ahead and shuffle the data completely in order to get the proper output. So across the partitions, the data is shuffled and then the transformations is performed completely and the result is given to the driver node and then it is displayed to us. Now let's see with an example here. In the narrow transformation, let's say we have 3 executors and each executor is having one partition. Partition 1 is in the executor 1, partition 2 is in executor 2, partition 3 is in executor 3. Now, I want to do some transformation. I want to get the employees whose employee ID is 200. So I will go ahead and write that in the df1.filter and employee ID is equal to 200. So if you will see, I just need to filter out the data from partition 1 and put it to my output data frame. Filter out the data from partition 2 and put it in my output data frame. Similarly, I have to check the partition 3 if ID is 200 or not, and if it is present, I have to put it from the input to our output data frame. So here it is like a one-to-one transformation we are doing and there is no shuffling of data. So this is called narrow transformation. Now let's see what is a wide transformation. Wide transformation means you need to go ahead and shuffle the data. How you can shuffle the data? Let's say you again have those 3 executors and each executor is having one partition and the data is on the basis of department. So there are 3 departments: sales, HR and IT, and each partition contains some data. So in one partition, it can have sales, HR. In the other partition, it could have sales, HR, and IT. In the third partition, it may have some other data. Now, I want to get all the employee counts whose department is sale. Let's say how many employees are working in sales department, how many employees are working in HR, and how many are working in IT. So for that, I have to basically group the data on the basis of department, and then I have to calculate how many employees are working in that particular department. So for that, I need to get the data from partition 1 to see if sales is present in partition 1. Yes. Let's move it to partition 1 of executor 1. Now I'll go to partition 2 of executor 2 and see if sales is present in partition 2. Yes, I found it. So now I will move it to partition 1 of executor 1. Similarly, I will check with partition 3. So now in one executor, all the department which are having sales is being transferred to one executor. So now if you will see, there's a lot of shuffling involved here to get and group it by department. Once you get it in one partition, one executor, Then you can count how many employees are on sales department, how many employees are there in HR, and how many are in IT. Then once I get the count of each, then I will push that count to my output data frame to my driver, and it will display me the result. So in this case, a shuffling of data is needed, and then I will get the count of the data, and then the data is being go ahead and conclude this session. If you like this video, then hit the like button, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you have a good day.